About the snow, first time snow before Halloween. How did it affect the people here with no generators?
The people here are freezing. And it rained and snowed. It would have been one thing if it just snowed, but it rained and snowed. So everything got wet and then it was freezing cold. But, I mean, the people here, they're very high-spirited, so it really didn't do much. But we're just, comfort is trying to keep everybody warm by reorganizing, getting everything dry again, and then handing it all out so everybody can be warm.
So from after you try to dry it, where do they go? Where do the clothes go to get dry?
We have a team that does laundry. They do it at, some people like pick up the laundry, they do it themselves, and they bring it back to us. Then we have a team that does like humongous loads of laundry. That's pretty much it. Some of the damn stuff we're trying to dry in storage, but most of it goes to laundry. I do not envy laundry right now.
All right. Now, what kind of alternatives are being placed now since there's no generator? Is there any type of solar heating that could be done? Any ideas? Any suggestions from people?
Stay warm. I mean, I personally never used the generators anyway. I don't know anybody who did, so it's probably for media. Other than that, I mean, they'll probably just have like battery chargers that they have, but I don't know anybody that uses it to actually heat anything up.
You're a military guy. How did you think that they would they hang out here with the elements? Because pretty much only military guys and homeless people know how to deal with the elements of the city.
Yeah, I'll put it like this. After what I saw yesterday, there's no way that these guys are going to make it through December. There's a lot of bickering, and they're just going against Mother Nature. You can imagine if you're going through what happened yesterday with sleet, hail, rain, snow, and bullets. That's military fashion. Out here, you're not in a battle. This is not a real war. You're getting what you want, or you're trying to progress to what you want, and you got to battle the elements of Mother Nature. And if you're going to be going through that and can't withstand the pressure of Mother Nature, then you're not going to be able to stand the pressure of anything else as the days come on, because it's going to get much worse. And it's just, yesterday was small compared to what December is going to bring in January.
Now, last night was very difficult, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How did the wind, how did the people cope with keeping warm?
Well, basically everyone bunkered down in their tent, except for the medical crew around 6 p.m. The wind was really the worst part. Like, my tarp came off a few times. I had to jump out, tie it back down. But the condensation in the tents was the big problem, because around 2 a.m. it like started to leak into my sleeping bag. That wasn't good, but I kept a core dry area, and hopefully it'll dry out today. So, yeah, I think, you know, this was our first real test, and there was a core group of diehard people here that never left. There was people that got cold and wet, so they were transported off-site to hotels and apartments where they could, you know, stay safe.
It was terrible. My walls were sweating, like cold water, and it was dripping in here. My floor got all wet.
Right.
My boyfriend and I were just huddled up in like one of these blankets, freezing all night.
Assuming you're preparing for tonight, or you're doing this right now, are you occupying the park right now?
Yeah, I am occupying the park.
Did you stay during the snowstorm?
Yeah.
Now talk about the preparation before and after, and what you learned from last night that's going to prepare you for tonight, if it happens.
What I learned from last night is going to keep me prepared for tonight is keep a front of these with you at all times, because they work.
They do. They keep your body heat in.
I'm about to like tape my whole body up in these and just wrap it up in tape and be a mummy for Halloween. Fuck it.
Now, I saw earlier teams of people squeezing out wet garments. Did your stuff get damaged as well? And what have you done with your shelter to try to keep it dry?
It's already soaked, so I just threw a bunch of these on top of the wet stuff that's left in there.
Alright. So at night Thursday was gusts of wind, and it's hard to tie down the tents. There's nothing to anchor the tents.
Yeah.
How are it being anchored? Is it cinder blocks or?
Yeah, we have the big tarps, they put cinder blocks on them, but for regular people who aren't in like groups, rope and they tie it on the trees. And stuff like that.
We designed like a structure for my tent so snow won't and rain won't like interfere with the tent itself. So tomorrow I'm gonna start building that.
What about anchoring the tent? Since this is really a cement park, how do you anchor your tent so that a gust of wind doesn't just take it away?
You don't. That's
wow.
Yeah. I have a lot of heavy stuff. Like I have a guitar and a lot of like gear here, so that weighs it down. I'm usually in here, so it won't float.
As a person that have dealt with the elements, what can you suggest them do with no generator, no place to really anchor your tents, and wetness and moisture? What's the number one rule, you know?
Well, the number one rule is to be thankful and realize what you have every day is precious. And every day can get worse and worse. Hence the tsunamis in Japan, the hurricanes in Florida and South Carolina, even in New Jersey this year. It can be much, much worse.
That creeps you out, right?
But yesterday was just a small delegation to what could happen. And when you're going against something like Mother Nature and the elements, you have to remember that your own person is the most important thing. Keep yourself warm and don't think about what's coming. Think about the right now.
Earlier today, everyone was wringing out the wet clothes from the snow, and there's a pile there. Now, I understand that there's donations. Are people getting enough socks and thermals? And
Most definitely. The problem is yesterday they weren't prepared for the snowstorm, so most of the stuff got wet and soaked and it wants to be washed. But for the most part, I get everything I need from Thursday.
now, last night, is there a new wish list of things that people would want? What would be the top 3?
Definitely, I think thermals, ski suits, things like that. Boots that are, keep water-resistant boots. Anything to keep the water out, because keeping dry is the priority, and staying healthy and warm.
Tents, gloves, hats, scarves. No sweatpants.
No sweatpants?
Not enough sweatpants.
Snows, I really wish it would have snowed because it just sleeted all night long, which is a lot worse than snow. Snow would have at least created a blanket, of around the tents to keep us a little bit warmer.
They took away the generators, and I see they have the bike generators now. How much is power necessary for your existence here in the park?
Not much, to be completely honest. I charge my phone and my laptop every few days, and I'm fine with that.
And you charge your laptop where? They have chargers?
There, or if they don't have any power at the moment because they're on the bike, I go to like the store somewhere.
When I first approached you, you had the solar panels for your phone.
Yeah, man.
We were talking about possibility of using solar. Talk about the other alternative energy sources since they removed the...
We already got going a bicycle generator. So one person will be manning the bicycle, and it's charging up some marine-grade, wet batteries. And we'll then use those to keep the, live stream running, basically, try to keep power to the
Does it
Wi-Fi.
store the energy, or is it you got to keep it going to keep it going?
Well, no, it's we're storing it and then using the battery. Now we've also got batteries we're going to be shifting off-site to like real charging locations, and we'll probably just start using those in shifts. Marine grade, wet acid batteries. And obviously I got these little solar panels. They're really only good for cell phones, things like that. Keep, personal communications online. But yeah, whatever they do to try to stop us, we'll find a way around it.
Everyone has a background story how they're affected, whether they got student loans or can't get into college.
I tried to go to art school. I went this semester in art school, but I ran out of cash. And most of the reason I went is loans, and these are loans that I will never pay back. I know I will never. I have no intention of paying because it's play money, and it's $30,000 that I'm in debt right now, just because I tried to go to college.
Brought me here is just my anger and frustration. Like I've been saying this for years, and I feel like the corruption has hit a point where it's just affecting everybody, and we're just upset. Like, why do I have a degree and I can't find a job? It's sad, it's sickening, and the fact that I'm a minority at that, if I can't make it, if I'm struggling now, what does that say about people that don't have a degree, the minorities that don't? So what brought me here is this frustration.
you originally from New York City?
Yeah.
And what brought you down here originally? The first day, you know,
What brought me down here?
Yeah, what?
Well, it started a conversation in the bathroom. My friend, we were just speaking about our interests, and he mentioned Occupy Wall Street. I was like, what is that? He told me, and I was like, this is everything I've ever wanted in a movement. And I agreed with every single point he had told me that they started making, and I just came down here the next day, and I've stood here ever since.
Did you have any negative comments from friends or family in the very beginning before it became media covered?
No, I mean, the only immediate family or like immediate, like my mother, and she supports it completely. She's definitely one of the 99%. She got laid off. She's been laid off for 2 years. She's like, go for it. My entire college fund has to be used on rent and utilities, and I have like maybe $1,000 in the bank, and that barely covers book charges. I personally think that entire American education has just become a scam so far. I mean, books are $200 a semester each, and then you can't reuse them next semester to buy a new one, and it's at least $25 grand for tuition. And on top of that, you're not even getting a quality education at the end of the 4 years when you spend thousands of dollars and eventually you're in debt, waist deep in debt. All you can do is get a job at Starbucks because that's all your degree can get you.
Wow. How many days you been out here?
We came up on Thursday.
Where you from?
From St. Augustine, Florida.
St. Augustine, Florida. Now, is your body in tune to this cold, or you've been a college student up here, you got family,
I mean,
and you're used to it?
It's I got a lot of layers on, so I'm okay. I'm okay for now.
And what made you come up here, and did you leave a movement from down there, or you decided to come to the source? Talk about.
We decided to come to the source. It's me and 5 of my buddies. We're actually shooting a documentary to like help spread awareness and like educate people on it. And I figured I'd bring some of my friends up and do some stencils, make some posters, and pass them out, see what I can do to help.
I participate all the time. I volunteer. I help clean. Those wankers don't do crap. Nobody wanted to wake up this morning to help clean up, and this place is still dirty. Small numbers. Positive attitude. I wipe positive with my ass.
Fucking Lord, this is so good. Revolution, we will rock out. I'm not distracted by Kim Kardashian or the NBA lockout. Yeah, right there. Rap, come and spit with me. I don't really care whether or not Kobe plays in Italy, because I'm just started. And yes, I'm not a Martian. I rip for poor people who get spaghetti at the Olive Garden. Yeah, or the people that are poorer than that. And now I'm just chilling revolution. The soldiers will rap. And this is so cool. Yes, we spit it clear. Recognize revolution happens right here.
How many days have you been out here?
Well, last Sunday was my first day here. I stayed 20 hours straight. I got here at 6 p.m. because I had a show at 3 to 5. So I got here at 6 o'clock just to check it out. And then I didn't know what was going to happen. I came down and checked it out. And sat here, talked all night with people. It was great. I was the coffee didn't keep me awake. It was the liberty that kept me awake, and the hope, because I've never ever felt that I've had a voice in this country. I've seen inequality when I was a child. I've had black friends and Spanish friends picked on. Never understood it. Still, even now, I'm 40 years old, and there's still people that are unequal. And we live in America. It's not supposed to be the United States of Catholic America. It's the United States of America. Everybody's free, and everybody's equal. But gays don't have equal rights. And still the Spanish, and then now the immigration. It's just a lot of hypocrisy, I feel.
My name is De La Vega, and our biggest saying, probably our most popular one, is "Become Your Dream," which is about people, regardless of what's going on in society and in the country, that people continue to believe that they can do something powerful with their lives. My art has always been about developing language that will make people think and rethink things. So beyond this demonstration, that people come away with words that give them the ability to continue to fight, to construct dreams.
We don't want to be separated from our brothers and sisters across the street, right? No, we don't want to do that. So there's a clergy group that's been meeting over there, and we agreed early on that we would combine, we would meet together. So what we want to do is we want to go over across the street and meet in the park with them, right? We want to stay as close together as we can, all right? Can you hear me?
I actually think that this movement learned a lot from black causes through the years. All the techniques that you see out here were done by people like Reverend Darchie, other civil rights leader a generation ago, so this is not new. And it's not necessarily wait and see. Some of us have been out here from the very beginning. I'm one of those people, you know. But the thing is, you got to understand, you know, we've been organizing and mobilizing for a very long time, you know, but we see it as important not just to organize in our communities, but also to have coalitions, and that's what this is about. And so, and it's also just putting historical context so folks know that this is not new in terms of Wall Street protests, and also where we are. I mean, the African burial ground is right down the street. We know that Wall Street literally was built on the backs of African slaves, and so it's important to highlight those things when we talk about this kind of work.
Years of protesting and going for causes and actually training some of our leaders now. What do you think about the speed that this movement moved compared to other ones? Because it seemed like it took a little momentum for older ones. This one kind of spread in a month.
Yeah, well, I think they quickly got it together. Whoever the leaders are, they got it together, and it's moving. And when you touch the pulse of the people, I think it was Hugo says, nothing is so powerful as an idea whose time has come.
Where do you see it going, and how do you maintain it? And have they reached out to you for your knowledge and experience?
So Monday's just another day? Well, I see it's continuing across the world, and we'll be here to be supported, as we've always been, and I'm hopeful that we'll have victory.
Of course, we wish you again. You are fighting for freedom for everyone. Why are you here now, and you've been here since your office down the block? Talk to me.
Well, 33 years ago, Reverend Herbert Daughtry, myself, Sister Karen Daughtry, Brother Adeyemi Bandeli, Lumumba Bandeli, and 10,000 of us came down here 33 years ago. We just walked across the bridge, Brooklyn Bridge, with a couple of hundred people to say that the issues haven't changed. We're still talking about the greedy. We're still talking about taxing the rich. We still have double-digit unemployment in our neighborhoods. In addition to that, we want to let the occupiers know that here in Wall Street, 20,000 of our African ancestors are buried on Wall Street because they worked them to death. And matter of fact, the wall was built so that Africans can come over here, and they sold them. We were the human commodity on Wall Street. So we made them rich. We want our reparations. We want them to pay their fair taxes, and we want some economic justice. That's why I'm down. Well, this whole idea of occupying a space, Dr. Martin Luther King in 1968, he was building a Poor People's Campaign to deal with poverty and to deal with homelessness and to deal with an equitable distribution of wealth and income. Dr. King didn't live long enough to make it. So when he was assassinated in '68, Reverend Jesse Jackson and Ralph Abernathy, they built Resurrection City in Washington, D.C., and they set up tents just like that, and they stayed there from May 12th to June 19th. Before the police came and moved them out around the same issues. So I think the younger generation is learning some of those tactics from the civil rights movement, particularly Resurrection City, and from our being here 33 years ago with 10,000 people.
From September 17th to now, we've seen one cause branch off to several different causes if you circle the park. Talk about how you can maintain focus on the original issue, or all these issues related, from hydrofracking, which you talked about in your campaign, to poverty, which you talked about in your campaign as well.
Well, you know, I think this is a movement. It was a spontaneous movement. It's getting organized. I think it'll be more crystal clear as it evolves and develops. The issues will be more crystal clear. Right now, we're all united that Wall Street is a bunch of pigs. Wall Street is a bunch of crooks. These bankers are a bunch of robbers. And everybody is all united around that. So it will crystallize itself as the movement evolves. And there'll be branches of this movement that will be more specific. But right now it's general and it's working.
And lastly, what do you have to say to people who have not come down here or haven't shown support, whether donating or just listening?
We say, get your butt down here. Because when they come for us in the morning, they're coming for you in the afternoon. Any one of you can be homeless, impoverished, unemployed. It's just a matter of a twinkling of their eye. So you better get with us now before it reaches your home.
Police make any moves since there was less people in the park during the elements, or is that a fear that with less people in the park, they'll try to overtake the park?
No, I don't think so. I think that it's hard to tell, like especially last night, who was here because most people were in their tents. But actually, we kept chanting from our tents for a while, so that was kind of fun. But no, I think that there's really no one's really worried about the police destroying the encampment like they did in Oakland. Mostly because just the terrible PR that it would create, and the fact that we are supported by a large percentage of Americans. So I'm not too worried about that. I mean, it's our constitutional right to be here, and these tents are also our constitutional right. Especially if you look at any Supreme Court case that's taken into account city ordinances versus the First Amendment. The First Amendment always wins. So I think they recognize that, and they don't want to, stir up the problems that moving in and tearing everything down would cause.
That motor puts out about 8 amps, 5 to 8 amps, depending on how fast you're going, and it charges a 28 amp hour battery. These are 100 amp hours, so they're very large capacity batteries. So they take hours and hours and hours to charge. But so far we've been powering the media center, the live stream, which is what puts the information about what's going on in the camp on the web, and that's how we generate most of our donations and interest from the global community about what's happening.
What are you guys up to now? Like $500,000?
I don't know what it is. I don't
no
know how much
idea. As of a few weeks ago, there were $450,000 in donations. And just
so part of that was pending.
Oh, okay.
So on hand we have about 150, but don't quote me on that.
I mean, I'm more saying it in terms of just to emphasize like how much support there is. As another example, when there was when there was a threat to close this down on Friday a couple weeks ago, the city council and the company that owns this property received over 250,000 phone calls over the course of 24 hours of people of people expressing their desire to let the occupation continue.